Salute family, Tank Commander Zulu back at you once again, and that real man movement. Today, as we continue to dig into the community and extract the community builders, those who are important to bringing the community back together and who are trying their best through many venues and many attempts to be positive influences in the community. We are community builders, y'all. And today, I'm doing an interview with another community builder by the name of Lloyd Fowler. He's into many things in the community. He gives back based on his experiences. Let's get into the interview with OG Lloyd Fowler here at Tank Commander Zulu and the Real Man Movement. Fire in the hole, baby. Salute family, Tank Commander Zulu back at you once again in that Real Man Movement. Today, here at the Real Man Movement, I have Lloyd Fowler, OG Lloyd Fowler.
Yes, sir.
Another brother that works in the community, gives his services based off of his real life experiences. We're going to get into a conversation with brother Fowler, or the OG right here, Lloyd Fowler. We're going to get off into the conversation about what he's doing in the community, and we're going to also dive into some other interesting aspects about man building, character building,
yes, sir,
and what's necessary in the community and what's needed. We're going to get off into the discussion right now. Salute, brother Lloyd.
Salute, sir.
OG.
Yes, sir.
Hey, man, why don't you go ahead and
sir.
tell us a little bit about yourself. I know that I've talked to you. You've done many things in the community, brother. I'm real proud of you, first of all. Salute you again,
yes, sir,
for your efforts and your giving back to the community, which is very important.
Yes, sir.
And your love for the black community.
There you go.
So, before we go any further, man, give me a little bit about what you're doing, some of the community outreach programs you're dealing with, and a little bit about yourself before we go deep into the discussion.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. So I want to salute you too, the commander, because you're doing a great job, and I love to see brothers who not necessarily are was born and raised here, but necessarily this is your home now. We love to see the brothers come and really putting into our community as in the same heart and mind that they put in to their own community.
Right.
We love that, and just as we do know, that most prophets and most brothers and what have you, they're not accepted in their own community, but they can go somewhere and do great works. And that's a good thing, brother. And we salute you here in Kansas City and give you much love and green pass on whatever you like to do in this city. As I said, I'm Lloyd Fowler. Most of the city knows about me. What I've, as far as my past lifestyle, where I've come from, what I've done. A few years ago, God put it in my heart to do some things to meet a need, not just do some things, but do something that is truly meeting a need. And He gave it to me to meet a need. And one need that I decided to focus on was the need of the children who have incarcerated parents. Children going to school, they may have a parent that's incarcerated. They don't have as much to start school off, like on a fair and playing field. So I wanted to meet a need of trying to make sure that those same kids that have only one parent or a parent incarcerated, that they would get the stuff they need to start school off on a good note. Give them the same playing field as a child that had two parents working and support them, you know. So that was one need that I knew that the community, you know, and our people needed. And so I started the school supply for children of incarcerated parents. I started that program where we have a community barbecue every year, and at this barbecue we give the kids who have pre-registered, you know, we have certified that they have a parent incarcerated, and this incarceration means on probation, parole, you know, any of that qualifies you for receiving, you know, our help with school supplies. So we do that every year. I am also connected with the community organizations. You know, we have one organization that that's with us to support us is MIST, and that's Mothers and Daughters of Incarcerated Sons and Daughters. That organization there has been around 10 years and established, and we completely got their support, what have you. So in coming up with the ideal about the kids' school supply and barbecue, I knew that we also needed a way to be able to fund a lot of this. So we created the OG Fashion Show, where we will throw this fashion show every year to raise money to help us to be able to make money. So we do this program here every year before the children's school supply giveaway or either after, you know. So we got money for the next year and what have you. So the ideal of this whole thing was to become independent, where we're not depending on any government funds, any you know, we're not like falling necessarily up under any 401, 501 nonprofits. It's just something that we are doing collectively through private donations, through private help, through the community coming together, and we do it for ourselves. And that's the whole objective, is to be a example about us learning to do for ourselves without taking money from government and then being told what to do. You know, our programs being infiltrated with all kind of political mess and stuff. So we don't have any of that, and that's what keeps us focused. And you know, it's not about money, but it takes money to do things, and so it's about meeting that need and providing for that need. And I just want to spearhead off of this. The brother Charles Williams with the company Care Production, he has a great program set up here that's coming that yourself and myself is involved in.
Yes, sir.
And it was also one of the calibers of bringing me and you together.
That's right.
And we want to thank that brother in his vision. See, because we know that it all starts with the word. You know, it all starts with a thought, rather. Before the word it's a thought. And we want to thank that brother for his thoughts.
Yeah, we want to salute Charles Williams. You
yes,
out there.
Sir. Salute you, brother Charles.
The event that's coming up March 22nd. March 22nd. If you can be available, please be available. If not, donate to the cause. And all the information will be in the description box below if you want to learn more about what Charles Williams is doing with the CARE organization. Now, let's move forward with what's going on with you, brother, because really this brother really has a very, very, very interesting vision. Not only a vision, he's had a real life experiences that can be addressed, that can be looked at as being valuable to any community. Now, one thing I want to let's get into the conversation about your passion. As I talk to you, you seem to be a very passionate man.
Yes, sir.
And your passion for the African American community, for our people, is worthy of imitation. And I applaud you for that.
Thank you.
But I want to ask you a question, man. What was it what was the time when the light just clicked on and said, I gotta give back to my community? What was the thing that kind of created your passion, the kind of passion that you have? Because outside of these organizations you mentioned, you represent quite a few others as well.
Correct.
And I just want to know what was it that created the passion inside of you to go ahead and say, listen, I'm going to go and be a beacon of light to the best of my abilities, based off of my experiences, which are real, and go ahead and help my community, help my youth, men of all ages and colors and everything, else. What was that all about?
Well, I'm going to say this here. I had a passion. I always had a passion for my people. I always had a love for my people. So it wasn't hard for me to have a desire to do something to better myself and my people. But it was a thing like, well, I didn't want to step out in the light because I've never been one to like straddle the fence. Either I'm going to be all the way in or all the way out.
That's right. So I didn't want to step out in the light because I had my own faults that I didn't want in the light. So through not wanting the light shining on all the faults that I had, it kept me at a bay for a long time of not stepping out into the community saying, here I am, take me, use me, what have you. But I got over that. I got over that because I gradually stopped doing things that I used to do that I didn't want to be out in the light, or had some kind of fear or frightened that I didn't want to be the light on me because of my own naught. Right.
So that kept me a long time at bay. And another thing was I didn't want to associate myself with just any organization or any community, to jump out here and start giving help to somebody that had, that had their own individual motives of why they were doing the thing, and then I jump in and help build their thing up, and knowing that I'm building their thing, but I'm not building the thing for the community. I'm building the thing up for their own glow, for their own individual life, what have you.
Right.
So that kept me in the long term to cost myself. So, as I said, MIST is my sister's organization, Bev Livingston.
Right.
And, she was a lot of motivation for me to get going and to get out here. She was already out there in the community. She's been doing these good things and been doing stuff in the community.
Right.
And so I had a desire to want to help her, and a desire to want to do my own thing. So after I got over the fear of me not wanting my own naught to be the light to be shown on, then I was able to move.
Right.
And since I got rid of that fear, I'm able to move now so freely and so much more strongly.
Right.
And nobody's perfect, so a lot of things. What I did do was I took my own naught and took it out of the light of the community. Right. You understand? It should have never really been in the light. People used to indulge in marijuana and drinking booze only in a certain area, certain spot in their basement. You have judges and doctors and stuff right now that drinks and indulge and what have you, but they do it in the privacy of their own home where it won't interfere with others, opinion out of the light in the community. So the prophet told us, take our dirty laundry out of the light.
Right.
He told us, don't put your dirty laundry in the light. Yeah. You understand what I'm saying? So if you don't put your dirty laundry in the light, you don't have to worry about the light reflecting on it. You understand what I'm saying? And interfering with the light. Let me ask you
this, brother, because what you're saying, that's profound.
Yeah.
One thing that I'm picking up on from what you're saying, your response, is the difference between faults and values.
True.
We all have faults.
Right.
Even as a combat
Right.
veteran, there's some deplorable things that go on in combat. A lot of things a lot of people don't know about that. If they did know, they wouldn't feel they were moral, right? But you're still doing those things for a greater good, so to speak, for a good that service American, so to speak, in an area of freedoms. But now you said something about that. You know, you were kind of a little bit before coming out and providing your community service. You was a little bit possibly ashamed of what you've done in your past.
Correct.
So and there's a lot of people.
I'll take that back. One thing, I wasn't so much ashamed of what I'd done in the past. It was ashamed of what I was doing. Period in my life.
Okay.
See what I'm saying? Because it was I've done the past, but here I was now at a point in my life to where as I wanted to try to figure out how can I get back.
Right.
So one of the things that helped me to be able to get back was to first get rid of that fear of my own faults, see, my own shortcomings, and says, okay, then if I didn't want the light to shine on me smoking marijuana, then I wouldn't smoke marijuana in public.
Well, and kind of getting to what I was trying to say with the question I was really trying to get to concerning faults and values, right?
That's
it's a time that I believe we can turn our faults if we really correct those faults, and we really seek the right kind of guidance and we follow up on it. We can turn those faults into values.
Correct.
And hearing your story, man, is compelling because it seemed like, you know, we all make faults, but you were able to turn it into values, to a value.
Right, correct.
So what do we say to young brothers out there, young people, period, or somebody, you may not be young, but they just may be lost, may have gotten caught up in the system. Now they're back out and they're trying to reconstruct themselves, and they may be a little bit cognizant, more cognizant of their faults than what value they can produce based off of the mistakes they've made. Because I've made mistakes in the past that, you know, I tried to say, okay, my faults, and let me turn this around, let me correct the fault so I can produce a value. So that's what I want you to speak to a little bit, brother. What are some of the things you would tell a brother out there, maybe, you know, was involved in gangs, maybe was involved in something, and see some time in jail or whatever?
Well, the one thing that I know to tell a man, and that's the truth.
That's right.
If you base whatever you're doing off the truth, it'll be fruitful for you. So, therefore, if I was to come in contact, when I do come in contact with a man, young man, I try to tell him, have you ever met a man? Right. You know?
Right.
And so then, you know, I prick his mind by putting that first question in his mind, brother, you know. Now I took him off his guard of, do I got to be secure to this OG? Because I done called him brother. Just by that one word there, I call him brother. And I say, brother, have you ever met a man? And so once I asked him that, and I wait on his response, yeah, I met a man, so-and-so, so-and-so. Then I asked him, have you ever met? Then told him that how to measure a man. And then I see what his response is. And then after I told him how to measure man, then I tell him what to do with what he got. Right. You know. And so as I said, I tried to gain the attention and the credibility of that young brother. And I bring it back to it. I say, you know, brother, as you noticed when I first approached you, I approached you brother. Right. You know, I try to approach each brother in that manner. I don't be approaching them, hey, youngster, and this, that, and other, you know, downgrading their manhood. Right. You know, so I approach them with brother, and I try to leave them with, I love you. Right. You understand? Because, see, just by those words alone, I have created a relationship with that brother. That brother just told me, hey, I just met a man, and he just told me he loved me. Right, right. You understand what I'm saying? Right, no doubt. He just told me he loved me. So, therefore, now I have pricked this brother's conscience and I had pricked his heart.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? So whatever I left with him between that time, from the time I met him and the time that I leave him, you understand? I've left him with something to grow on.
Some values.
Some values.
That's
I ain't
right.
told him how to go take a dime and turn it into 20.
Right.
You know, something legal. But I'm going to tell him something fruitful, you know. I'm going to tell him something like, you know, it's only two ways to make money in this world.
Right.
You either got to have a product or you got to have a service. They're the only two ways to make money in charity. So if you got a product or a service, you can make money in this world.
Right.
So,
okay. Now, let me ask you, that's wonderful, because that's a great example of turning fault into value.
There you go.
You know,
Yes,
the fault is in our own mistakes and our errors we make in life.
Right.
But the value is that when we can repair them and we can share them with the generations coming up.
That's right.
And try to teach them, hey, listen,
Right.
you don't have to go down this particular road. I've already been down there. Let me tell you how rocky and rough that road is.
There
you
you
know.
go.
So with understanding that, you know, false to values, I want to deal with the next subject of accountability and how important it is as a man, an African-American man in the African-American community, right?
That's right.
How important it is for us to be accountable for ourselves first.
That's right.
But then to teach accountability to the, you know, the people that may be coming under us, looking for guidance, needing direction. And particularly now those coming out of, because we have to address this, those that are coming out of the prison system.
Correct.
Because we have to be able to know how to deal with our brothers coming out of the prison system. Right. And being able to say, okay, let me put your feet on some firm ground here. But it's going to start with some values, turning your faults to values. And it's also going to start next with some accountability, starting with personal accountability.
There you go.
What's your view on that?
That's so true. Okay, let's take something for instance, something simple as this. You know, how can you expect me to give you the credit of accountability when I've seen you at your weakest points? How can I expect for you to give me strength when you never showed me strength?
Right.
You understand?
Great point. Great point.
So, therefore, I know accountability. You know, I can go to guys coming from prison, and I can introduce them to a program, what have you, and they'll listen and give me credibility.
Right. Because
for one, they know that from my past, I'm not going to give them something that's going to lead them in law trouble. I'm not going to give them something that is not going to be fruitful or rightful to them. You know, and so I would have the credibility. They would listen to me before they would listen to the man that's a professor and so, or he's the captain of the police and so. You know. So
no. On accountability, let me stir the pot a little bit on that, and see if I can extend the conversation concerning accountability, because it's just so important. In particular, when we talk about nation building, when we talk about community service, when we talk about repairing our community, our young men and women, because it's not just about men; it's about the young women as well.
Right, exactly.
Accountability from those who want to be community leaders, because there's a lot of people who use I guess they use the name community
leader of the
you know, but what does it really take to, as far as how does accountability ascend into the area of being a community leader or a community builder? I particularly like the term community builder better than leader, because it makes it seem like you got this big organization, but a community builder to me seems to be of more value,
that's cool.
and it's more something relatable,
exactly.
as compared to leader. So when I meet young brothers, that's good. As a community builder, that's something that they can aspire to be without saying, well, dang, I have to be in charge of all this. Right. So the accountability, I believe that we're living in a time where the so-called people in the community who are community builders have to be held accountable
Correct.
for their actions as well.
Right. That's right.
Or if you're gonna use that title,
Right.
okay, now there's an accountability that goes along with that.
Right.
You don't just get to use that title
That's why,
and mislead and misguide.
That's why I hit on credibility. See, you can have accountability and no credibility, and they won't give you no money to go buy a car.
Right.
See what I'm saying? Or a house.
Mm-hmm.
If you ain't got no credibility. You can say that I'm so-and-so, Mr. So-and-so of so-and-so business, but if you don't have if you don't have credibility in this here, then the bank ain't gonna give you no money.
Right.
You understand? But if you got a credibility, you can say I'm so-and-so of so-and-so, and I produced hundreds of thousands of dollars in the last blase. Then that bank say, well, you got credibility.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you may have accountability to have. Like to be a community leader, you got to be so and so, this kind of way and that kind of way. So that might be the accountability. But if you don't have the credibility to move the community, and that's what a lot of our community leaders are not lacking. See, the people are not going to follow you unless you show them the miracles of Jesus.
That's right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes,
See, they didn't follow Jesus. Jesus had to tell them over and over. He had to show them parables over and over.
Right.
But when the people finally built the credibility, I mean, when the people gave Jesus the credibility, they said, hey, that man that was hung up there is no longer there. He gained that credibility. You understand what I'm saying? So this is what our leaders is lacking. They don't have the credibility to go in the streets. But number one is, they don't have the credibility to make sure they're in a safe environment to when they go in the streets to do this. Do they have the green light? Is the people in the streets and the people in the community, are they going to accept them?
Right.
See, that's where credibility comes in.
Right.
See, so you could have accountability. You could be a so-and-so, a political figure, what have you. And they say, okay, well, he got accountability. But he can't go in and get the people in the community to listen, for one, because he don't have the credibility.
Right. Right.
So he can't even. When he start talking, they start, like
everything
wandering off.
Right.
So therefore, you can have, accountability is great. You need accountability to say that you are, ready and prepared.
Sure.
But you need the credibility in order to get the job done. To say that we know you can do this.
Right.
We know you're not going to sell us out. We know that you're not going to take us and throw us away to the wolves. Right. So how can you
stand for us?
Right. How can you come to the community and tell me, now I'm a guy that has committed murder, crime of passion, what have you, but it turned into a murder. You come to me, but you got no credibility. Only credibility you got is feeding us to the system, telling us to walk in and turn ourselves in and what have you.
Right.
I said that's the only thing you got credible, but you don't have nothing else credible to you, as a community leader, whereas you can tell me, brother, hey, it seems bad right now. This seems like this the end of the earth. Brother, this ain't the end. Guess what? Guess what? It's not the end, and it's not as bad as you think it is.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? And so for me to be able to come and tell you that and you to committed murder, I had to be under some kind of pressure to be able to know that.
Right. Right.
So, you see what I'm saying?
That's wonderful.
So therefore, we can relate. So now I got the credibility of you saying, yeah, I remember that cat. I tell you what, bad. You remember in 1983, 84, I was in the paper so-and-so, and I said, man, it looked like my life was over, But I went on to, I did my time, studied law while I was in prison, went on to do this and take this. I went on to learn this. Take this time that I was in prison and make it into where I was at the best university I could have went to.
Right.
Right. And so, now we have a relationship. Now we can talk like we can function. We can move together. We can understand it. We got to respect. So I ain't got to worry about you disrespecting me, trying to knock me off, gonna kill me like you did the person that, I'm asking you, brother, to do the right thing. Whatever what you feel is right for you, and I'm telling you, brother, You know, now it's not right. You know, man that's running can never be free.
Yeah, that's right. Go ahead. Say
freedom and running can't occupy the same space. Huh? If you running from something, you can never be free.
No, yeah, that's wonderful, man. So you hitting it right.
Therefore, now I have created the credibility.
Right. Yeah. You right in the vein of the conversation of what I want to talk about. Because with the accountability, we've established turning faults into values and trying to share this with the young men and women of the community, men and women, period. You know, in the community, outside of the community, and we're not just talking about the community here in Kansas City, but throughout communities throughout the world.
That's right.
I want to talk about also, with all those values set, what about being able to be relatable? So people can relate to what's, going on. They can relate to you. Too many times it seems like we try to put ourselves on pedestals with concerning education, concerning what we think we've accomplished, and we're talking to some people that may be in a place where they haven't been able to accomplish much because of due to the set of experiences that they had to go through.
Or different.
So they can't relate to some people who try to talk too highly above them, right? How important, because I think it's of the utmost importance, and this is why I wanted to do an interview with you in particular, that men and women of all areas, of all social brackets and financial brackets and things of that nature, have an avenue of approach with someone they can relate to. Everybody, wants to. Let's say everybody wants to go to college and get a college degree. Some people, most people, and society pretty much uses that as a standard. But outside of that, the people, because college just isn't for everyone.
That's correct.
The people who have to live a simpler life than that, they still possess value. They are still important. And they can go on in life to be very successful, more successful than the one that's holding on to a degree.
There you go.
So in order to relate from real circumstances, tell me a little bit about your real circumstances, right?
Okay.
And how do you use those to relate to those as you do your community service?
Okay. Right. Well, my real circumstances go deep. As you know, I've been in the trenches, see, that's what I was saying about the credibility.
Right.
So when I was in the trenches, I held myself and conducted myself in a certain manner, in a certain way.
Right.
To now, while I was in the trenches, those people were watching.
Right.
So they know the credit. They know my credibility. You understand? And so now, since I have, they can't say, well, we seen you, stumbly drunk, stupidly high, raggedy dressed, so and so. You understand? They say, we seen you always up. We seen you always moving about the dollar. We seen you always, standing on your square.
Right. Right.
So now I can go to them, and they, I have a greater love and respect. They don't respect me as just being someone that served their habit.
Right.
They respect me as a man, stand-up man. They respect me as somebody that put people over a dollar. I've taken people to I've taken people to recovery. Drug recovery. After I knew. Help them even to get to the bottom, to where they had nowhere to turn, and they turned to me.
Right.
And instead of me giving them more drugs, you understand, I let the humanistic side of me come out and say, hey brother, you're at your bottom. I'm going to give you now the best advice I can give you by taking you to the front door. Right. And dropping you off and giving you an ideal to go in here and help yourself.
Right. Right.
You understand?
Right.
So I've taken my real life, what I learned then, and applied it to now, to whereas now, I can. That's what I was saying. A brother coming out of prison, he'll you know, he would listen to me because he know
Right.
that what I'm saying to him is something that he relate to.
Right.
You know, and
Right.
so now I'm gonna show you something, and this is so because we have an audience, and this is not just for men. This is for men and women.
That's right.
You know, now I'll show you something. Some women out there, nobody never told them that when your baby cries, your baby is praying, okay? And your baby is communicating.
Crying out.
So you're going to go and whoop a baby that's crying for praying. You're going to go and shake this baby for praying. You understand what I'm saying? You're going to shake this baby for communicating, because the noise that the baby's making is noise that you that you haven't allowed yourself to relate to, that either that baby's hungry, wet, you understand, something's wrong, fever, so and so. You understand? But instead, nobody's never told you, would you whoop a baby or shake a baby for praying? Would you want somebody to whoop you or shake you for praying?
That's very profound, brother.
I understand.
Relating to the cry.
That right there. That right there.
Right.
Just by one or two women hearing that, they're going to know. They're not going to get caught up in the scenario. Did I lose my cool with my baby?
Right.
But because I just remembered this man said, would you whoop a baby for crying?
Right. Right.
Would you whoop a baby for praying? You understand what I'm saying? Now, we ain't been adults, we ain't been parents.
Right.
You know, it can be irritable when the baby's crying.
Right.
You know? But when somebody have told you already, you understand? How you gonna get mad at that baby for crying, and that's how that baby pray?
That's right.
That's God's given communication for that baby to communicate. And you want somebody to come shake you up because every time you open your mouth. You understand?
Right.
You would want that.
Right.
So that's what I'm saying is that understanding thoughts, like how we was talking earlier about, see, the reason why we can't stop killing is because we ain't got it out of our minds. And like I was telling you, it's about, it's about the mind process, the thought process.
That's right.
You know, so it's not too many leaders that know how to lead and teach from a thought process.
That's true.
They can lead and teach from a community process. They may know all the laws of what's going on downtown with the housing rights. They may know what's going on with this, that, and other, and this, that, and other. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
But, I'm going to show you something. Now, they built careers off of us. When I say they, I'm talking about anyone, that's my fault, but anyone that has not, like taking something and made their career off of another person's misery.
Right.
You see where I'm coming from? With no regard to the fact that you are coming in the community and targeting and setting me up. To no regard to my mother and them who have not done no out here selling drugs.
Right.
No regard to my mother and father who put in their best to try to raise me.
Right.
With no regards to my sisters and brothers, what it would cost them, or no regard to my own individual family.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? But you was just building your career. You came after me because you were pushing ceasefire.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
I was a target because I was an ex-felon.
Right.
Not because I had a firearm. You understand what I'm saying? So that's why I was saying it goes back to the fact that if the leaders knew how to get the mindset of the people, like we said, through internet, you can reach so many youngsters.
That's
But
right.
just having something on the internet ain't gonna reach them. But you gotta have something on there that's gonna reach them.
That's right.
You understand what I'm saying? Yeah, you gotta have something with substance.
Right.
So, therefore, if I'm telling you things, not things that you have heard before, but I'm telling you things that are grasping to your intellect, and you are able to understand it and grasp hold to it, then just like me telling the young lady about why would you whoop a child that's Just praying.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
why would you shake your child? Because he's praying. Because the child's crying.
Right.
You know.
Right.
As I said, to raise a man's thoughts, to raise a man's mindset. See, if we take the mindset of what's out here now, you won't be going talking about he unconscious to why his pants is sagging below his waist.
Right.
Okay, he ain't doing nothing to nobody. I call my pants sagging. He ain't doing nothing to nobody, brother. You just infiltrating the whole atmosphere. You understand? You
Right.
ain't doing, you
Right.
know. Now, how can you do anything? If you can't, how can you run down the street? How can you protect
Right.
your woman, your mother, if your pants is down around your waist where you are restricting your movement?
Right. And look, that brings me to another question because
Yes,
I don't want to lose the train of thought.
Go ahead, sir.
When you were saying that, you were talking about thought process and how
Right.
important the thought process is in
Right.
developing the thought process. But I want to switch that around a little bit and talk about the process of thought.
Okay.
Because a thought takes a process.
Right. There you go.
So,
That's
in order to get to the
Right.
thought process, we have to understand the process
Of
of
the thought.
thoughts.
Right.
So, and if we can communicate that,
Okay.
how do we communicate that to our youth, to those
Right.
generations we're trying to reach?
Right.
And we throw thought process out there, but do we understand the process of thought and how to get them to understand the process of thought? Starting with individuality first.
Okay, start with individuality first. Okay, now the thought process is this here. And the process of the thought is this here. First, you got to understand man. So we understand man, and now we know that man means mind. Because the man is he's only more man than his mind is.
That's right.
So we know that man means mind. So now I've told you that the equation of man is mind. So now you know that this is mine here. So now you start. Now I'm gonna tell you how this here works. You understand how this here works? It starts with a thought, and then the next thing is the word, and then the next thing is action.
That's right. That's the
So
process.
that's the process. So my thought, I done pricked your mind and told you, why would you shake a kid for crying? And that kid's probably praying and communicating, talking. Okay, so now that I have pricked your mind, then I pricked your heart and said to you, why would you shake that baby? I didn't say what the baby was doing. I said, why would you shake that baby? Under what terms give you the right to shake a baby or to discipline a baby? Under what term? Now, that baby's mind has not been developed for him to be accountable for anything over than what a baby is supposed to do.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So now I pricked your heart, I pricked your mind. You understand?
Right.
So now I'm working the process. So now that I pricked your heart and your mind, now I can take you to the daycare around kids, and I ain't got to worry about you shaking on kids.
Now use that same scenario that you just used, right?
Okay.
This process of thought.
Right.
I want to stick here for just a second.
Right.
How should that process of thought be for a young man who wants to murder someone?
Right. Okay.
Because whatever takes place, whatever the process.
Well, that
has
process
to take place.
of thought for somebody in a situation like that. Okay. Now, we're talking about premeditated. We're talking about a change where you have time to think.
Right. Where you have the time to think.
The first thing that person that's in that type of situation is thinking is, or wishing, can I call that can give me the right knowledge and wisdom to get out of this? You know, who can I call, that can tell me the right words to stop me from killing these people in this bank?
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? And so now we, like I said, we work with the process and the process of the thought. So now I got to call that person, I got to make that move, make the first contact, and then I got to be willing to listen to that person, unless I wouldn't have called it.
Right, right.
You understand what I'm saying?
That's wonderful.
So now I'm giving that person a chance. You know, I'm on the phone, I'm in a desperate situation. The police got the whole place surrounded. I got people in here on the floor. I got some people out of shot. You understand what I'm saying? So now, what do I do? You know, do I continue on till I take my own life? You know, what do I do? Do I take everybody's life in here? You know what I'm saying? But that process has started when I thought to call somebody that can help me on thought. When I first thought, who can I call to somebody that can give me the right? You understand what I'm saying?
Now, listen, in line with what you're saying, would it be beneficial for an idea to have been birthed in someone's head, so that when the process starts, that idea about, you know, let's say like thou shalt not kill, let's simply say that, you know, one of the commandments of the Bible, right?
Exactly.
Of God. So just the thought itself, when the process comes, should that be the idea of the thought? Should we be trying to birth the idea of a thought of de-escalating an event that may be premeditated, as opposed to just full out escalating it? So I'm as a community builder, I'm more in favor of let's produce the idea. So say, okay, this should stop you. And the way that happens is through sharing these kind of stories that are real, So maybe when the event takes place and the thought comes in and the process begins.
That's when it starts.
You can say, well, dang, I remember O.G. Lloyd, brother, said this, and that may be enough because that idea becomes part of that process of thinking. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think that is definitely breaking it down into a more of a layman's term. And for anybody that's listening, you know, when they're hearing us talk about thought, process of thought, you know, see, we were brought up like what you said about reputation, about how you get steady hear these rap songs and now you know them. You can steady be. Every black man I run into, I say, brother, hey, brother. I say, hey, I love you when I'm leaving. Peace. I say peace, and I say I love you. That thought of there alone. If I started, you started, he started, he started, he started, he started, he started. It's gonna snowball effect. Take off. It's just like I see. You know, for people who have been trendsetters, you know, I said some things, and now. Something I said then has went global and everywhere. You know, we've been saying man down, man down. You understand what I'm saying? I was gonna say is before we end this, I was gonna say is that see, a lot of us from the old school, we were taught the game never changed, only the faces and the names. But we found that to be a lie, because the game did change. You know, the game did change. The game changed, dog. You know what I'm saying? They said, told us, lied to us, told us the game will never change, stay the same. Always remain. No, the game changed. The game changed because time changed, and people with time change bring people change. So, you know, what was then ain't now. In the 80s, all you had to do was go in front of the parole board and tell them I had been rehabilitated. And they would give you parole. In the 90s, you couldn't go to the front of the parole board and say, I've been rehabilitated. You had to go in and say another word like, I've been rejuvenated. You know what I'm saying? And you got parole. You understand what I'm saying? So, as I said, is everything has contested the things. True enough, ain't nothing under the sun that haven't already been done. It's just been doing now in a better way or in a lesser way or different way. But there's definitely things change. Anything living will die, but things will change.
Yeah, and that brings me to my next question about things changing, and because that is so true. Things are constantly seem like they're evolving. Some core principles never change.
Correct.
Sun and the moon, stars, and you know that don't never change. But talking about change and trying to reach people through change, because of change, because we can't continue to do the same old antiquated old ways of approach.
That's right. So, right.
One thing you always hear me talking about is that we have to take advantage of social media.
Correct.
Because that's the ear and the voice of the young people.
That's right.
And it's even gravitating to whoever you may be. You know, social media now.
Greater field, is the greater stage to play on.
Right. It's the greater voice than me knocking on the door and saying, "Have you heard about this?" Let me talk.
Exactly. Right.
So what I'm saying is, in community building, you know, that's what we're trying to do.
Correct.
That we have to approach every avenue, and how important it is. Even in this channel right here, this YouTube channel, Tank Commander Zulu and the Real Man Movement, for us to corral ourselves around these type of movements, like your movement, and be able to be held accountability through the vessel of unity. How important is that? I mean, and I guess I'm saying using these platforms and being unified, because like the OG fashion show and stuff like that, I'm on board. With whatever you got going on,
sir, I appreciate
and I have to be accountable. Once my tongue says that, then my manhood to say what's going to determine whether I'm a man of my word or just a person blowing smoke is not what I do next in the way of supporting that.
That's right. Correct.
So the unity with the community builders, how important is that? And also using the platform that's effective.
Exactly.
What's your thoughts on that? Going into the social media platform, we need to flood it, just like it's flooded with garbage at times. We have to flood it with some positivity.
There you go.
So what's your thought on that?
Okay, now my thought on that is just here. As I was saying a while ago, I've been like a trendsetter somewhere to start something, and I was going to say is that with social media, you know, the social media is definitely a platform that will open up a whole world stage for us.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? So instead of us using it for just dating or socializing, you understand, we need to be using it to be informative.
That's right.
We need to be using it for a business purpose, for producing, you know, marketing, you know, and so this is going to be the way that we have to communicate to our younger brothers and sisters.
That's right.
It's through that method there. See, and I'll be saying all the time, before Facebook, they've been watching me because I was that person to watch. You know, so as I said, now there's something with a greater platform, something great that can put you all over the world. Right. And for us not to take advantage of it when this has been kept from us. Right. See, we didn't have a stage to perform on, you know, all those years back. You know, we had to create our own stage, we had to make our own stage, we had to perform on our own stage. But now we got a stage where we can perform on to the whole world.
That's right.
I don't care what it is you're doing. You can take that stage and you can increase your thing tenfold. So, okay, so like you were saying about, taking, you know, having that platform and also having the platform to getting the young people to be able to grab, because you can put informative information on there, but guess what?
Putting it in their face.
If it don't draw their attention, then your information gonna go. It's gonna go unheard. We don't. Nobody's gonna stop on. They may hit like, but are they gonna really take time out to read that?
That's what.
You know what I'm saying? Exactly. So, and it goes back to this here, as I was telling you. You know, so now we give them something that's gonna draw their attention. We're gonna use the same science that TV and all that has used before. We're gonna use the same science. You understand? But a real different message. Right. You see what I'm saying? The message is going to be real and it's going to be different. But we'll use the science of Facebook, and we may even put Snoop Doggy Dogg on the front just to get your attention. You see what I'm saying? Right. But what's played on the inside is going to be what Zulu Commander, what Brother Lloyd Fowler brought, what Brother Charles Williams, thoughts and and our agenda, what have you.
Wonderful.
You understand?
Wonderful.
And so
Wonderful.
that's what I said. That's why I said the community leaders, they got to know how to get the people's attention.
Right.
That was a good thing he did today, passing out a lot of meat and help to the community leaders. And even though it may wasn't as sharp as it could be, fine-tuned as it could be, but it was a great thing he did, and he did bring us together. And this is the thing what we got to do. Yes.
Now, let me ask a question. This is going to be kind of a aggressive question in the area of community building. Why can't we get this thing right? And listen, I want to, because this is when you talk to someone that's been broken, that is very disappointed in their community, that feel that there's no black leaders, they feel that these people are only out for themselves. Everybody want to get the bag for themselves.
Correct.
So why can't we get this thing together? Because we haven't got this thing together.
That's what I was looking
Now let's get down to the nitty gritty. Why we can't get this thing together?
Because we lack unity, like what you said. Because we lack unity, and because this here, we have taken on that dead mentality that we was talking about, us uplifting a person's mentality, right?
Right.
They've taken on that dead mentality of this here, I can't let you get more than me, the crabs in the bucket type of mentality. You understand? Well, I'm not going to let you get to the top because I'm going to pull you down, and I'm going to be the reason that I pull you down.
Right.
You understand? See, jealousy and what have you. Right. See, me, you, and him can come to the table, but guess what? Wisdom tells us that there's Judas present.
Right. Right.
You understand what I'm saying? Not taking nothing from you, we are a connected family here. But wisdom tells me that if I don't kill the Judas in you, you don't kill the Judas in him, and he don't kill the Judas in me, then Judas is going to be amongst us.
That's a wonderful way of putting it.
You see what I'm saying? So as automatically, I already know this, that Judas is here. So as a leader, the first one thing I got to do, I got to kill the Judas in you.
Right.
You understand? I got to kill the Judas in you in order to kill the Judas in me.
Right.
Because the Judas in me say, I got to keep you from taking and stealing what I got.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? The Judas in you is saying, you got to take and steal whatever you got to get. You understand? You see what I'm saying? Or you got to keep me from stealing your joy, what have you.
Right.
So therefore, we are brothers, so I killed that. You know, I killed it just like when I was creating the OG fashion show and what have you. You know, I would run into people that had takeover spirits. I would run into people that had robbery spirits.
Right.
And I would kill those spirits in them. You understand what I'm saying? Those that I could kill the spirits in them. I would kill those spirits in them. And that's the thing why we, like you said, now unity. Unity is not going to come because you pass out gifts.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? See, they'll take your gift and go right around the corner and plot on you how to burn your house down. Right. So, giving out gifts is not going to create unity.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
That's a false unity. See what I'm saying?
You hitting it on the head.
So therefore, you know, as community leader and as people who are completely into this, you understand, we know not to make those pitfalls.
Right.
We know not to make those pitfalls of giving out gifts to try to build unity. But check this out. We can have an event where we give, when you could bring 2 items, a top and a bottom, and we let you in for half price. And we take those items and send them over to Jamaica, send them over to Haiti. You understand? Then, now, we all have touched people all the way, hundreds of thousands of miles away.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Right. Now, we created unity in order for us to accomplish this stuff, getting all this stuff to send over there. You see
Right.
where I'm coming from?
Right.
You see where I'm coming from? We create unity because we have came up with a thought, worked the thought process, and then now we working the program.
Right.
So now, even though you don't know that you making, you know that you're making this donation, you know the cause, but now that once you made that donation, that cause, you just found out that you just reached 100 families over in Africa, what have you.
Yeah, right.
You understand what I'm
Right.
saying? So now
Right.
you got a sense of doing something in a sense that pricked your heart.
Right.
And so now your unity coming in full-heartedly. You know, now you want to do this next year.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Hey,
So,
man, that's wonderful. You hit it right in the vein, but I have to come back and reiterate what you said about the
Yes,
Judas
sir.
thing. The
Okay,
Judas, I'm going to
okay.
call it the Judas complex.
That's right.
Complex.
That's right.
Because that is so true.
That's so true.
In every organization,
Yeah.
that Judas is going to
It's
pop
been
up.
there.
Now,
Yes,
by now, you would think
Yes,
that
sir.
we know
We know how to
where it's
get by
going to
that.
pop up.
Yes, sir.
But we also should know from wisdom,
Yeah.
like you said,
That's
conventional
right.
wisdom,
That's right.
that it didn't stop the progress.
So did.
It
So
didn't. The
did.
Jews
No.
didn't stop the progress
No, it
of
did. No, it
Jesus.
did.
You
No,
know,
it did. No, it
it didn't
did.
stop it. So even though we know,
Yeah.
and that's wonderful, you bring this
Uh-huh.
up, and this needs to be talked about more. That Judas is going to show up.
Right. You can't, without a doubt.
We know he is.
We know he is.
But does that stop our progress?
Process. That's right.
It shouldn't stop our progress, you
Should
know.
not.
And knowing that, and I think it's so valuable that you mentioned that, in order to create a conversation or a dialogue about it, we expect Judas to show up,
Right.
but also we should have some expectations about our durability
Right.
in the sight of Judas.
That's right.
You know,
That's
and
right.
that's why I'm saying
Judas will defeat us if we don't. have
right.
that.
I'm
That's
applauding
right.
what you said. That Judas
Right.
got to be killed in us, and
Right.
it all kind of goes back full circle to
Right.
what we're talking about here today.
Correct. Correct.
Self accountability,
That's right. Community
values,
building. Community
and
building.
all those things,
Yeah.
man. In doing that in the community, and it will in some way pull on
Right.
unity.
Right.
So what you're saying, I mean, is a great value, man,
Yes,
and
sir.
it's
Yes,
something
sir.
that we need to be talking about and discussing.
Yes, sir.
And I'm hoping
Boy.
and
Yes,
praying that you guys that are watching this video right
Yes,
now
sir.
are taking the knowledge that's being displayed between
Yes,
two
sir.
brothers,
That's
two
right.
community builders.
That's
We're
right.
not trying to be called
I'm with you.
leaders and none
Yes,
of
sir.
that,
No,
but we're
none
trying
of
to
that.
be builders in order
That's
to
right.
build our community.
That's right.
Not only here in KC,
That's
but
right.
the communities of the world.
right.
And I'm gonna get one more thing, brother, before
Yes,
we
sir.
wrap it up, man.
No problem.
What's keeping your fire going, brother?
Yeah.
Because let me say that because I know that it could be times where you feel like,
Yeah.
man, these people,
Yeah.
look, I'm tired.
Well, that right there, you know, like I said, I didn't never been one to let the people say I've always been so self-motivated. You know, I wanted to be the best at this. I wanted to win. See, so I went at everything. Anybody that know me will tell you. You know, I went at everything to win, not take second place.
That's right.
Anything besides winning, the winning,
right.
was not going to be suffice for me because I had that type of. This was my personality, what motivated me. You know, I'm 3 games down.
Right.
We playing pool 5. First one win 5 games, win the $100. I'm 3 games down. You know, it's a crowd of people, Kansas City people watching. You know, and I come all the way back.
Right.
Being 3 down.
That's right.
You dig what I'm saying? So,
I can help you up on that. That's right.
yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And I know I said that was the last question, brother.
Yeah, but that's okay. That's okay.
You're such an intriguing brother
Yes,
to me
sir.
that I do have to ask this question,
sir.
and this will probably be the last one before
Yes, sir.
I've robbed enough of your time.
Yes,
but
sir.
I thank you for your time.
No problem.
But let me ask you a little bit about
Yes, sir.
spirituality, because with
Okay.
me that was
Right.
a lot of the main focus
Right.
in developing my character to be able to say, let me go ahead and take on this challenge of trying to support my community,
Right.
my people, or people in general, as much as I can from a sound place. You know, spirituality was definitely important to me.
Yes.
I pass that on to my sons.
Yes, sir.
To people that I meet, I have no shame about saying that I am a Christian. I'm a
That's
real
right.
Christian,
That's
not
right. Me too.
someone
Me
that's
too.
saying,
Me too.
I'm a
Me
Christian
too.
and no
Not
extortion
saying
or none of that.
Right.
But from
Me
a real
too.
perspective,
I'm a Christian.
Jesus dealt with
I
the
love
people,
Jesus.
hands on. So with that, I'm saying I know it's important to me, and me with my community contributions. It was the driving factor that kept me going. Right. So what about you? And I know that spirituality is a part of it, but explain it from your perspective how spirituality keeps you going and
okay, there's no doubt.
Keep moving.
Spirituality, without God, I'm nothing. And when they say that without God, I truly mean that, and anybody, somebody will truly tell you that without God, they are nothing. You understand? Because they know.
That's right.
Okay, you know, I've been shot a total 6 times, 2 different times. I can remember literally dying, life going back so fast, you know, to whereas I had to say stop. You know, I could have gave up the will to live. You know, I want to take this time and advantage since we're doing this. As I said, in a lot of major cities, we can slow up the murder rate. You understand what I'm saying? Because a lot of our guys are really been killed at the hospital. See, we got shot, and we got shot and ran cross street, got hit by a bus, and ran all the way to the hospital. And we here. You understand? What makes us different now than guys, then? Okay, true enough, we were healthier, built up stronger, because we didn't eat a lot of poison. McDonald's didn't have poison in it then. You understand? We ate real food, you know, that was grown right out the ground. Right. You understand? And so, but they got greater medical technology now than they had back then, of course, right? So why aren't they saving more? Because you don't have insurance. You gang related, you drug related, you shot up, you don't have no insurance, nobody's came here with no money. When I got shot, my partner was in his first year of study to be a doctor. He was at the emergency room on his doctor thing, you understand? And was able to come in the surgery room and tell them that's a personal friend of mine. Right. Do everything you can to save him. Right. You understand what I'm saying? And I was saved. So why these young guys now dying so much? Is it because they don't have that same will to live? No, they got a will to live, maybe not as strong, but they got a will to live. But a lot of our people are being killed at the hospitals in these major cities because there's an upper board that say we only have a certain amount of resources. That's business with them, you know, that's business. So we, as a people, we got to come together and say, okay, our parents, our mothers gonna stop signing off for you to take our loved ones off the machine. Because see, all they do is come out and say, ma'am, your son is only surviving on the machine. You don't know what condition your son is laying in back there with those bullet wounds because you're not a nurse or a doctor. So then we tell you, ma'am, the best thing, the only thing, go talk to the pastor, go talk to your family. The only thing we can do is, you know, we can keep him on the machine and the quality is like no good, or you can come up with another $1,500 and we keep him on the machine and blah, blah. You understand what I'm saying? And then your people go and say, talk to the other family, well, they say, well, should we tell them to pull the machine? Then we sign our loved ones right on the way for them to kill. Every parent that has been through that will tell you that's the same rain line they gave them.
That's happened with my brother.
I said the same line they gave them. He will be no good to life, and you don't have insurance. Do you have $5,000 to give us now so we can keep him on the machine? Well, you need to go talk to your pastor, whoever. You know, and you go right out and talk to where they say the quality of his life is not going to be none, even if he survived this, and so and so. Should we just tell him to relieve your machine? Yeah, we take your pastor like, yeah, that's probably, you know. We take it, we killing our own loved ones by giving them permission to kill them. So we tell them, take them off the machine. Yeah, go ahead. You know, take them off the machine, you know. You know, I mean, me and the parents that told them, I don't care what, don't take my boy off the machine. And how many of them boys that lived and run around now just as healthy as so-and-so, so-and-so.
That's a great point.
I said.
Great point.
I said, while we are doing this here, this is something for the whole world to feed on.
That's right.
You understand?
That's, that's the reason we got it.
And we got it from the Tank Commando. That's right.
My man, listen, once again, OG
Lloyd
Fowler
Yes,
in the
sir.
house. I'm a
Live and
salute
living
brother.
color. Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
man. Thank you for your time tonight.
Appreciate it.
Everything that you
Appreciate
said, man, it has value. It has
Yes, sir.
substance, man.
Yes, sir.
I concur it. And I
Yes,
pray
sir.
that we can learn from it.
We
You
gonna
know,
do
in
more.
the area
Yeah.
of our community building, we're going to
Yeah.
keep that going.
Yeah.
With that, we're going to stop the tank, family. Once
Yes, sir.
again, if you are not a subscriber to the channel,
Yes, sir.
I encourage you and invite you to become a subscriber today.
That's right.
And when you subscribe, hit the little bell icon.
That's right.
When you do that, it makes you aware of all the content that Tank Commander Zulu and the Real Man Movement, which the OG's a part of,
That's right.
will
I
be coming
fully
to you. You'll be notified when we drop any kind of content. So I invite you once again to become a subscriber and a supporter of the channel. Also, give it a thumbs up and
right.
leave a comment. As long as it's respectable, we can engage in a conversation.
Amen.
And with that, remember, fear no man but God, baby. No man but God.
Yes, sir.
Tank Commander Zulu,
Yes,
signing
sir.
out.